Nioclás Orion is sanan dom.
Agus cá bhfuil mí inis Nioclás?
I Duhallow.
Okay, and are you from here?
Isha, rugach me in áitseo.
Okay. Agus tá scéal a go faoi trúr a fuair
True
básan
far.
seo hochtteoch fehedó, na?
Isha.
All right.
Maybe about 20 years ago, we found a record in the Cork County Library, or City Library, I forget. And it's mentioned a Daniel Keefe executed in Tullylease on the 27th of April 1822. So we kind of parked it, but at the same time it was at the back of our heads that we should commemorate this event in some way, because anybody we asked about it knew nothing about it. Nobody remembered their father or grandfather mentioning it or anything.
Okay.
It was completely forgotten. So we felt this man should be commemorated, you know.
Yeah.
2021 we decided maybe it was time to start planning the bicentenary of this event.
Okay.
So we did a bit more research and we started digging into the records, see what we could come up with. But lo and behold, we realised that Daniel wasn't alone. There was two others. So three men actually had been hanged in Tullylease.
Here in this small rural village.
In the small rural village on the 27th of April 1822.
So that period then, Nioclás, that was tied in. There was a lot of unrest in the countryside.
There was a lot of unrest, exactly.
And all tied in with the White Boys and the Captain and the Rockites, Captain Rock.
Captain Rock and all, yeah.
Okay, so you believe this is a part of that whole
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
story?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Okay. And so they were arrested. What was the crime they were accused of?
So we were actually quite fortunate that we were able to find the prison records. And the prison records stated that it was for breaking into a house, burglary and stealing clothes. Okay, that was the extent of it. And it happened in a townland of Kilknochan. It's probably about 6 miles from here.
Okay.
And it was a landlord's agent. He was a man by the name of William Cushion. And it was into his house they broke in on the 12th of March 1822. So they were taken to Cork County Jail. I think it's quite close to where UCC is now.
Correct, yeah.
And there was a trial. I'd say the trial was short and sweet. And we haven't been able to locate in official trial documents, right? But we have prison records. We have an account as well from the Chief State Solicitor's Office, where the Cushion family, wanted to be moved out of Kilknochan because they no longer felt safe there. So we already have that record as well. But anyway, the three men were sentenced to death, to be hanged, right? Here in Tullylease.
Locally.
Where
they came from?
They must have been locally, because if they were from Fremont or Milford or Drumculloch or Broadford, they wouldn't have hanged them in Tullylease, you know?
Yeah.
So we're adamant that they were from Tullylease, but we don't actually know the townlands.
And what were the names of the two other men?
So we have William O'Mahony, who was 48, Daniel O'Keefe, who was 38, and Thomas Murphy, who was 24.
Young men.
Young men, yeah.
And they're all local surnames, aren't they, Nioclás?
Yeah, sure. They're all local. To this day, those names still survive in our parish, you know.
So you're a border. In my head, Tullylease is a border village. You're kind of looking. You've Cork below you here, and you've Limerick just beyond you.
Yeah, we've Limerick up here north side of us.
North, okay.
Yeah.
And Newcastle West.
Yeah, it's further north. It's like only about 15 miles from here.
And that was the origin of the whole Captain Rock.
Yeah, there was a lot of unrest down there.
So this was quite close to the epicenter.
Very close, yeah.
Yeah.
So it all happened down there because of on the Courtney estate.
Okay.
In Newcastle.
Okay, and it spread here.
Yeah, it spread up here.
And so we think that these three men would have potentially been involved in that, and
yes.
then were captured as part of something
Correct.
they were involved in.
Yes.
There's no story about them being falsely accused or anything, is there?
No, as I said, there was no story, full stop, about them.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were brought from the county jail in Cork.
The county jail on the 26th of
April.
April, yes, and they were brought to Mallow, and even the scribes going over Patrick's Bridge, and brought to Mallow to the Bridewell. So they stayed overnight in the Bridewell, and next morning they left Mallow in a horse-drawn carriage, and they came by Castlecor, Ballyclaw, Castlecor, Kilbrain, Ballybohala. It said down past the church in Fremont and up what we call today the old road to Tullylease. It was basically to scare the living daylights out of the locals, right?
Okay.
So, and we don't know the exact location of where the gallows was, but we suspect it was in the Fairfield, which
Where's that?
It's just below us here.
Okay.
And it's only 250 yards down there.
Okay.
Because it was owned by the landlord, there was a lot of horses, yeomanry, soldiers, whatever.
Yeah.
And they would need a big area to even turn the carriage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we reckon the gallows must have been constructed there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So an amazing story that was forgotten for so long.
It was forgotten for 200 years almost, yeah.
And then in 2021, when you decided to commemorate the anniversary,
Yeah.
you got together and formed
We got
a committee.
We formed a committee of like-minded people that are interested in the history and the heritage and preserving what we have. And part of that then, we set up a historical and heritage society in Tullylease because, as you know, John, we have a lot of heritage here in our village,
Yeah.
It's an important place for us and I think for most people in County Cork, it's an important spot,
Yeah. And so you have a fine, for a story that was forgotten, the names are now carved in stone.
They're carved in stone,
And
yeah.
when did that go up?
So we unveiled this, the whole aim was to unveil it during the bicentenary.
Yeah.
So we actually got it done about 5 days before the 201st anniversary.
Right,
Yeah.
lovely.
So it was unveiled on the 23rd of April last year.
Okay. And just point out there's a very ornate cross on the stone. What's that relate to?
So this is to our local patron saint, St Beircheart, okay, who came here in the 8th century to this place and started Christianity. So we have a very famous cross slab like this on our monastery below.
Okay.
Yeah, so we said this was in this village when these men were born, and it was here the day they died tragically,
Yeah.
So we said
Fabulous.
it was fitting to put that on there.
Like Beircheart is such an unusual name, but it has
is.
a local form that you taught me the last time I was here.
Yeah.
What local men would be called?
Bin,
Yeah.
but Beircheart Tascailga.
That's Gaeilge.
Yeah, but of course you have St Beircheart's Coil in the Glen of Aherlow, John.
Yeah.
You know about that.
Been there, yeah.
You've been there, yeah.
Yeah.
So they actually celebrate his feast day on the 18th of February, the very same here as well, right?
Right.
So it fell on a Sunday this year. We had a huge crowd,
Right.
and the day was like this, it was sunny, so we had a fantastic day,
Fab.
Yeah, so.
Okay, well, I think it's a fantastic you unearthed it. That's such a sad kind of tragic memory, and now it's back for the young people of the parish as well.
That's it. And you see, some people would say to me, like, who are these related to? And I say, if you go back 200 years, people didn't go very far outside the parish to find a husband or a wife. So I say, I think they're related to everybody in the parish,
Right.
And families that were here 200 years ago, I think they're connected,
Yeah.
There's a link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's a Donal O'Keefe, Daniel O'Keefe, and we have one of your committee members, Sheila. She's related potentially to that.
Well, her husband's family, we think, they were the only key family in Tullylease in the 1820s. So
They're
Sheila,
strong contenders.
Sheila's husband is O'Keefe, and they've been here for a couple of hundred years in this parish. So we think that's the Daniel is connected to them. Yeah.
Sheila O'Keefe.
And you were married to an O'Keefe man.
Yes, Paddy O'Keefe.
Paddy.
We think he was a descendant of Daniel O'Keefe. Paddy's uncle was Donny O'Keefe. So And there would, the generations back, there would have been a Daniel in, I'd say, nearly every family.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
potentially, you're connected
Yes.
to this Donald here, who was hanged in 1822.
Yes. This comes from the Belfast Commercial Chronicle in May 1822, and the date of the execution was the 27th of April 1822. It was a Saturday. Now, Cork, Thursday, May the 2nd, William Mahoney, Donald Keefe and Thomas Murphy, who were convicted of burglary at our last assizes, were conveyed from this city on Friday last, reached Mallow on that night, and having received the sacrament according to the rites of their church, were taken from the Mallow Bridewell at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning and attended to the place of execution at Tullylease, a distance of 18 miles by road. Mr. O'Connor of the South Parish of this city and the Reverend Mr. Jones, Roman Catholic curate of Mallow, in order is supposed to strike terror into the country people. Executors and rugged route was taken over hills and round where a four-wheeled carriage was never seen before, much to the annoyance of the unfortunate prisoners and clergy. Nothing could exceed the pious and resigned demeanour of the prisoners. The cries and tears of their relations could not move them or make them turn aside. As they scoffed at the scaffold, they severely acknowledged their guilt of the crime of which they had been found guilty, and addressed the surrounding multitude with firm and audible voices to take example by their fate, to listen attentively to and follow the advice of their clergymen, who were their best and most disinterested friends, ready to risk their lives in fever or plague for their eternal happiness, and conjured them to return to habits of peace and industry, and to avoid all wicked and illegal associations. The case of one of the prisoners, as contrasted with that of the other two, is particularly deserving of notice. He was an old man and in rags. It was Mahoney. He declared solemnly in the presence of that God before whom he was shortly to appear, that he had never been sworn a white boy, nor ever joined them by day or night, that he had never robbed before, or injured any man to the value of a shilling, and looking at Murphy said very placidly, "It was you that induced me to go with you on that fatal night, but I forgive you. And furthermore, I declare I would not have gone with you, but that myself and my family wanted the necessities of life and a bite to eat, which you well knew. I am going to die," he said, turning to the crowd. "You all pity me, but I am as composed and happy as the night of my marriage." The wretched man ceased, and the three were soon after launched into eternity. They died almost without a struggle, and their bodies were given to their friends.